Axum, the ancient empire, and Ebu Kunama, a lesser-known but very significant cultural thread of the Kunama people. Part 1. Axum, the Empire of the Horn. Axum, or Axum, was one of the most powerful ancient kingdoms in East Africa, centered in what is now northern Ethiopia and parts of Eritrea. It rose to prominence around 100 CE and reached its peak between 300 to 700 CE. Key facts: capital of trade. Axum controlled Red Sea trade routes between the Roman Empire and India, dealing in gold, ivory, incense, and enslaved people. Christianity. In the 4th century CE, Axum became one of the first major empires to adopt Christianity under King Ezana. Ge'ez script and language. Axum was the birthplace of the Ge'ez script, still used in Ethiopian liturgy. It influenced regional languages. Stele and tombs, famous for its giant stone obelisks, stele, and elaborate underground royal tombs. Connection to King Bazan. Some traditions connect the biblical Magi, who visited Christ, to King Bazan, possibly linking him to Axum's early dynasties. Fall of Axum. The rise of Islam in Arabia cut off Axum's access to trade. Coupled with climate change and internal collapse, the empire declined by the 8th to 10th centuries. Part 2. Ebu Kunama, Origins and Role. Ebu Kunama refers to one of the principal branches or clans within the Kunama people, an indigenous ethnic group native to the western lowlands of Eritrea and parts of northern Ethiopia, particularly the regions near Gash-Barka and the Tekeze River. Who are the Ebu Kunama? The Kunama are traditionally agro-pastoral and deeply spiritual, with complex clan systems. Ebu designates a clan family grouping, possibly carrying ancestral, spiritual, or geographic significance. The Ebu are considered by some Kunama oral traditions to be among the original or ancient custodians of certain sacred lands or rituals. Some say they preserved old gods and healing rites before Christian or Islamic influences. They are known to be guardians of heritage, preserving language dialects, initiation practices, and possibly holding ancestral roles in divine mediation. Axum and Ebu Kunama. Possible connection? There is oral memory among some Kunama that suggests Kunama groups like the Ebu may have predated Axum, or at least coexisted as separate indigenous communities during Axumite rise. Some stories speak of Kunama lands and cities being destroyed or absorbed by Axum's expansion, or later by military leaders like Ras Alula during the 19th century. Cultural remnants, such as stone circles, fertility altars, and star-based rituals, link the Kunama to older systems of knowledge that may predate Axumite Christianity. Summary: Axum was a vast Christian empire that shaped much of East Africa's history and trade. Ebu Kunama refers to a key clan of the Kunama people, who are believed to have maintained pre-Axumite spiritual practices and ancestral knowledge. While Axum became a centralized imperial force, the Kunama, including the Ebu, remained decentralized, spiritually grounded, and rooted in nature-based systems. The full relationship between the two is still being uncovered, especially through oral history and sacred landscape studies. Let's explore this from a sacred storytelling perspective, tracing the mythic connection between Aub, Axum, and Ebu within Kunama ancestral memory. 1. Auba, the ancient god of the Kunama Aube, sometimes spelled Aubi, is spoken of in elder oral traditions as one of the primordial names for the creator or supreme force before colonial religions arrived. Aube is not just a god, but a cosmic force, the one who breathed the soul into dust, the one called upon in healing, rain, and justice. Some elders say Ob walked with the Ebu, and others say Ob was hidden when Axum rose, hinting at a spiritual departure or displacement during the rise of imperial religion and power. 2. Axum, in the words of the spirit. In certain kunama mythic retellings, Axum is not just a city, but a turning point, the arrival of kings, stone, and foreign gods. Some stories say, Ob saw Axum rising with silver and crosses and turned his face to the plains of Ebu. This suggests that when Axum became powerful and imperial, the spirit of the old god, Ob, left that highland and returned to dwell among the humble people, like the Ebu kunama. Axum is sometimes remembered not just as a historical force, but as the arrival of foreign rules and centralized religion, a break from the egalitarian, earth-based ways of the kunama. 3. Ebu, the chosen clan, the keepers of the flame. The Ebu are sometimes described as those who kept the fire, the ones who did not bow to Axum's god, who hid the name of Aub and continued the rites of the old world in secret. In sacred tales, the Ebu are keepers of the black stone, guardians of the star wells, or healers who speak to the trees. They are often seen as the remnant that stayed true when others converted. There is a powerful saying among some oral custodians. When the mountain was claimed by gold and swords, the river ran to Ebu, and Ob made his bed in the reeds. This implies that divine presence, Ob, moved from the imperial lands, Axum, to dwell with the spiritually faithful, Ebu. 4. Hidden meanings in the mentioning. When Ob mentions Axum and Ebu, it is usually in a symbolic form. Axum represents the rise of kings, hierarchy, empire, the adoption of Christianity, and the abandonment of older indigenous gods, power, glory, and loss of balance. Ebu represents ancestral purity, memory, hidden knowledge, resistance to forced conversion or assimilation, the living temple of the old god Ob. Final reflection. The story of Ob, Axum, and Ebu is not just history. It's a cosmic narrative of what happens when a people face spiritual invasion. Axum shines like a stone tower, but Ebu holds the living fire in the clay pot. Auba's voice in these stories reminds the listener that God does not only dwell in thrones or temples, but with those who walk humbly, keep the earth, and remember the first name. Walk this journey with me. Like and subscribe, not for numbers, but for remembrance. Let your ancestors know you have seen their greatness. Let them feel your footsteps walking in theirs. May they guide you, protect you, and keep you in harmony with the earth, the sky, and all living things.